images, meaning before death. On the right-hand side are the post-mortem images, the ones that I took. Now, on the top and the bottom, these are the same images. The only difference is the top, I have drawn out the relevant areas of anatomic similarities. The bottom images are just so that anybody can kind of look and see without any obstruction on either image.
So when you looked at the antemortem image and the postmortem image, were you able to determine whether or not that was the same tooth?
Yes. It is my professional opinion that this is the same tooth, both antemortem and postmortem. If you would like, I can talk through each dotted line.
If you could, please, yes.
Absolutely.
And it's just so it's clear at the bottom of this page, you do talk about what each dotted line is, but yes, if you could just outline that.
Correct.
For each dotted line.
Sure. Would it be helpful if we zoomed in on that a little bit more?
Yes, please.
So just the 4 images together if you scroll up. So the yellow dotted line indicates the buccal or cheek side roots. You have a mesial and distal buccal root. And I should also say the reason I took 28 radiographs and you don't see 28 radiographs on the report is because I take as many radiographs as I need to perfectly replicate the angulation that the antemortem before death x-ray was taken at so that I could theoretically superimpose the images over one another. And in this case, it just took me 28 tries to get the images that I needed. So the root anatomy, yellow dotted lines, that was very consistent. And then above that, the orange dotted lines detail the canal space for the cheek side roots, the distal buccal and mesiobuccal roots. The magenta or pink dotted line in the middle just outlines the pulp or the nerve of the tooth. And that is actually a pretty unique shape, so that was very consistent. The red circle and green circle both point out what we call incipient decay or decay that was just starting on either side of that tooth, so cavity. And then the blue dotted line is the topography of the cemento-enamel junction, which is just the junction between the 2 different minerals of the tooth. You got your enamel around the outside. If you were to strip all the enamel off of a tooth, what you're left with is something called dentin. And that junction between the dentin and the enamel, you can trace and track along. And that was also very consistent.
So, and you said that this is tooth number 15 in the left upper. So what does that mean when we're thinking about our own jaw? Where is that tooth located?
Yeah. Your average adult human being will have 32 teeth. That's counting wisdom teeth. Wisdom teeth, so when I say far back upper left tooth, in Crystal's case, she did not have tooth number 16, which is a wisdom tooth. That tooth either never developed or was removed at some point in her life. So in this case, her far back upper left tooth is the one that we were looking at.
Now going to the next slide on your presentation, what are we looking at here?
So this is very similar to the first page, but the image that I'm comparing to, the antemortem image was a bite wing rather than a periapical image, meaning that those x-rays were taken at a different angle, so different anatomy. The tooth itself is skewed in different ways depending on the type of image you take. So in this bite wing, I just replicated that angle and lined up the anatomy as well. So walking through those dotted lines, the yellow dotted line just shows unique root anatomy that lined up. On the this side right here, this details a root concavity. That's what we call it, a little concavity on that side of the root.
And you're just, so the record is clear, you're detailing the right outside portion of the tooth.
Yep, just that part right there. And then again, similar to the, and I should also mention, the x-rays that were taken, antemortem, these are what we call phosphorus plate x-rays. It's a slightly different style of x-ray. It was the technology that was in between traditional x-rays that you put up on a light box, and what we have today now is digital sensors. Same proportions and everything. My images may just look like a little bit of a higher resolution. That's just because I'm using a digital sensor rather than a phosphorus plate, which is a little older technology, but same thing. The pulp, very similar. That's the pink dotted outline. And then it's hard, because this is a phosphorus plate, to make out the same detail on the digital x-ray, but you can make out that disto-buccal canal space, which is the orange dotted line right there. And then similar to the last image, the cemento-enamel junction, which is the blue dotted line, very consistent. And then you can still make out that proximal decay, which is the red circle. And then lastly, the occlusal anatomy. So the top biting surface, occlusal means just the biting surface of the tooth where you mash food. That you could line up the cheek side and tongue side cusps very consistently there.
Now, moving on to the next slide. What are we looking at here?
So this is just the second bite wing that was taken. So generally, when you have a bite wing, or two bite wings on each side, one's a little bit further forward, one's a little bit further back. So even though half of tooth number 15 was obstructed on this x-ray, I was still able to line up and line up the anatomy sufficiently. So just for the sake of thoroughness, I wanted to, even though it may have been a little redundant, still wanted to show that from this angle I was still able to replicate that anatomy. And in this case, I just highlighted the pulp, which is that pink dotted line, highlighted the mesial cusp on the occlusal anatomy, which is that white dotted line, and then just showed the decay, which is that red circle there.
And does that conclude the images that you examined for that first tooth that you examined? You didn't receive, but you came to Dodge County to examine.
Yes.
Now, at some point in the investigation, were you contacted about a second tooth?
Yes, I was.
And then did you examine that second tooth?
I did.
And same thing, did you come here to Dodge County to examine that second tooth, or did you do something different?
I just want to make sure that. So yeah, this was at the Medical County, Juneau Medical, or the Dodge County Medical Examiner's Office in Juneau.
Which is confusing because there's also a Juneau County in Wisconsin that maybe you have been to, correct?
Yeah. So yes, it was at same location that I examined the first tooth.
And do you remember approximately when you came to examine that second tooth?
In November of 2024.
For that tooth, were you on scene when it was located?
No.
Did you receive some just overview information that it was located, though, at that same Wood Road residence?
Yes.
And yesterday, I'm going to show the jury picture 228. Again, they did see this picture yesterday. But I will show it to you. That's picture 228. And does that appear consistent with the tooth that you examined at the Dodge County Medical Examiner's Office?
Yes.
And obviously 228, it's surrounded by leaves. You would not have received it in that manner, correct?
No, I only saw it once it was at the office.
Now going to the next slide here, what are we looking at here?
That's just the cover letter for my the second report that I wrote, just kind of detailing the second tooth that was found.
And now the highlighted portion, tell us what you're advising of in this highlighted portion.
Yeah, so this tooth, when it was located, did not have the root anatomy for it, so there were less points of comparison for me. That being said, there were still enough points of anatomy on the remaining occlusal portion that was still existing where I was able to comfortably line up anatomical features from the antemortem radiographs.
Did you use the same dental records that you had received from March of 2023 from the Watertown
Polished smiles.
Polished Smiles Dental Clinic?
Yes.
And walk us through the process that you used for this second tooth that you received.
Sure. Would it be helpful if we went to the next slide?
Yes, it would be helpful.
Okay. So coincidentally, this is tooth number 2, and that is the mirrored tooth to tooth number 15. So us human beings are symmetric creatures. So the anatomy for that tooth is just inverted. So comparing on this lower right here, this is tooth number 15, the first tooth that I evaluated. This is tooth number 2, the second tooth I looked at. And you can actually see, like this right here is the transverse groove. You can see that right here. So anatomically, tooth number 2 and 15 looked very, very similar, just inverted. And I took then just a cropped image of, this is the antemortem radiograph that was taken. And I'm sorry if it's a little confusing. The other report had my image on the right-hand side. So the postmortem was on the right-hand side on the other report. And this one, I had it flipped around, so I apologize for that. But this is the image that I took, and as you can see, there's no root structure on this tooth. However, I was able to point out and see consistencies within the cemento-enamel junction and then the occlusal anatomy. And that combined with the first report, enough points of comparison for me to feel comfortable stating that this tooth belonged to Crystal Rasch.
And can you just tell me a little bit more what you mean by mirrored tooth? Where would that be located in the jaw?
Yeah, so mirrored tooth. So if tooth number 15 for Crystal was her far back upper left tooth, tooth number 2, assuming she didn't have the wisdom tooth there, would be the far back upper right tooth.
Okay.
So just the opposite side, same tooth.
Got it. And then did you do any other analysis on that tooth, or would that conclude the analysis that you did on this tooth because of the fact there was no root structure?
Yeah, that would conclude my analysis for this tooth.
I have no further questions. Thank you.
Cross.
Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning.
In your role as a forensic dentist, essentially you testified that your job is to examine the antemortem and postmortem radiographs, correct?
Correct.
And then the primary task that you're assigned to do is to see if you can make an identification of these teeth and hopefully connect it with an individual who is deceased.
Correct. With the the only way I will definitively, positively ID somebody is if I'm personally the one taking the postmortem images. I don't trust any other operator for that. So if they want a definitive ID, I have to be the one taking those X-rays.
Sure, but identification is the primary task that you're charged with.
Correct.
In your work, to do the identification, you're not equipped, or your expertise does not lie in manner of death.
Correct.
No other questions?
Redirect.
Nothing. Thank you.
All right, Doctor, thank you very much. You can sit down.
Thank you.
Can this witness be excused?
Yes.